Hey guys, welcome back to Beer Fueled Fantasy Football. Hopefully you guys had an excellent start to Week 11. I know a lot of us are waiting for the Monday night kickoff here where so many hopes and dreams are going to be won or dashed in what should be a shootout. I know I have one game where between us we have 5 players left in tonight's matchup.
Have fun with that.
Yeah, that's me against Yanni in Snow's League.
Go Robert Woods.
All right. How'd you guys do overall this weekend, though? How was Week 11 for you?
Well, my crowning achievement was I picked up my 8th Scott Fish Bowl win, which puts me into the playoffs. But other than that, I got a lot of things hanging in the balance tonight, too, and too much variance to really root for one thing or the other. So whatever happens, happens, I guess.
Yeah, if Mahomes and Goff can somehow get benched and then their backups come in and do well, that'd be amazing. That's about the only thing I can root for.
That's the only thing that would go well. This is a defensive struggle. It actually works out better for me, though, so that would be okay.
In all but one league, I am in support of that.
Yeah. Thanks to Dalvin Cook, I need Robert Woods to put up 24 points in half-point PPR. But more on him later.
Not
very doable.
Not undoable. Well, hopefully you guys' Week 11 went well. Hopefully you're not too nervous going into the Monday night game here, which is, I believe, the record for highest over-under heading into a game since, I think, like 87 or something.
Wasn't there... No, never mind. I was thinking of the highest point spread between teams.
No, that's just the highest over-under.
Yeah. Yep.
It's the highest in my lifetime, I believe. So this should be a blast. Let's try to get through all these games that we went through on Sunday so we can get to... let you know what happened in all those games so we can try to watch the game here and make sure you guys aren't missing too much. But we do have some news, injuries to cover, waiver wire. It's going to be a busy episode, and it's a double feature. We are going to be doing Wednesday's episode in a reduced format tonight just to make sure all 3 Thursday games are previewed for you guys. So don't go away once we're done with this episode. Hang around. We're going to do a quick 5-minute break, reset, and then we'll do that episode real fast for you as well. Before we get to this first episode here, we have to let you know what is fueling us in part 1. And I suppose we should say who's on the podcast in case you're a first-time listener. I'm Nick Sparts. We've got Dan Thurry to my right.
You had one job.
I have many jobs.
Many jobs. But you failed this one job. I'm at 30 BFF with 2 Fs.
And joining us from St. Louis, per normal, is Christopher Hopper.
At Hot BFF with 2 Ps. What's up, guys?
I don't want to say as always because that's not 100% accurate, but...
story.
If you want to follow the show, it is Beer Fueled FF on Twitter, Instagram, Untapped. If you're listening to the audio version of the podcast and you want to get on the video, catch the live stream, ask us questions, it's Beer Fueled Fantasy Football on YouTube and Facebook. We do that most Monday, Wednesday, Friday for the majority of weeks. Thanksgiving throws a wrench in that. And then Sunday mornings at 10:30 in the morning, we do your live broadcast for answer your questions before kickoff. Those are all Central Time. For today's episode on the beer side, we've got Black Raspberry Dreamsicle by Pipeworks Brewing Company. It's their 4th time on the show. They're based out of Chicago, Illinois. And
why wouldn't they be on this beautiful, glorious day, the day after Chicago beats Minnesota twice?
Mm.
It was a rough day yesterday for Minnesota sports.
It was a rough weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, did the Gophers
lost Northwestern, another Chicago team.
Which is also Chicago.
Well,
or
if you haven't known anything, all Chicago has owned us mainly in hockey of recency.
Now Soldier Field is the Vikings boogeyman as well.
I've said that many times.
Black Raspberry Dreamsicle, not surprisingly, is a cream ale. Comes in at 6%. We'll give you a full review once we're through some of the game recaps. But before we get to those, we have a couple news items for you, mostly quarterback-based. News. All right. After he came in for Ryan Fitzpatrick getting yanked in Week 11, Tampa Bay Times reports the Bucs are going to go to Jameis Winston as their starting quarterback in Week 12. So the
roller coaster,
the carousel continues.
Yes.
I'm not surprised. I kind of predicted this, but without actually predicting this, I guess.
Just my concern is like Winston is kind of a tasty stream option for some of his matchups coming down the stretch here, but the issue is if he could get yanked again at any fucking time.
I don't know. I've got to roll with him in a league I'm trying to lose in, so there's that.
I mean,
it was really funny how that worked out.
That was a fun side side conversation between Hopper and I yesterday.
Oh, when he got in the game.
Because we were rooting for him to win with his backups scoring touchdowns.
Pretty much, because my entire team's on IR, so I had to start Jordan Wilkins and Jameis Winston and Austin Carr, and all three of them gave me touchdowns, at least.
Well, it worked out for you. You still lost, though, right?
I still lost, yes.
Perfect.
So good.
Bills coach Sean McDermott says Josh Allen, with his elbow injury, will practice in full on Monday. He's on track to start in Week 12, so this offense can get slightly less dumpster fiery.
Oh, it's still bad.
I said slightly.
I don't know if that's...
It's 10% contained. All right.
I don't know. I don't really have a take. I don't know that it's less dumpster fiery at all.
Oh, we got questions rolling in.
All right. Redskins signed quarterback Mark Sanchez to be the backup to new starting quarterback Colt McCoy based on necessity.
Well, he looked serviceable.
Given the names that were on that list of people they brought in, that might have been the best they could do.
But still, no Colin Kaepernick.
Yep. Yeah, that's the one that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, at this point.
Again, it's the perfect scenario for him to sign, and he's not even brought in for a workout. And I'm not a Kaepernick sympathizer by any means, but you got a team that's 6-3, currently very much in playoff contention, that had a season-ending injury to their starting quarterback, and has a backup that has, a track record of a backup, pretty much. It was a long-term backup. And you don't bring in a guy that could be a major upside acquisition for your playoff run if your backup quarterback falters.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I agree completely.
Or at the very least, if they just want to be a run-focused team and have the threat of a QB taking off and taking one to the house, Kaepernick could provide that for him too.
Exactly.
So I don't get it. Sanchez is a good QB. He's effectively going to be a backup QB coach for McCoy.
Yep.
And McCoy's been around the league long enough to not really need a backup quarterback coach. It's not like you're coaching up a young guy. And if you get a Mark Sanchez, I mean, it's the Spider-Man meme, except McCoy's a little bit more mobile.
Yeah. The one only nice thing is we've known McCoy can go out and win a game or two here, but this is not going to be a playoff contender with McCoy.
Right.
No, in the East, with Dallas looking a lot better, and I expect Philly to bounce back and be very competitive moving forward. I
can see the Redskins finishing last at this stretch.
Philly's
the Giants
we were.
They're up to 4 wins now.
Are they?
They won 2 in a row here. All right. Last piece of news here, so we can get off the quarterback train, is Miami Herald's Adam Beasley reports Jakeem Grant is undergoing season-ending lower leg surgery. This is off of an injury a few weeks back. So the Miami Dolphins receiver core gets even more decimated.
Does anybody own him?
No.
In Dynasty leagues, probably.
His mom.
All right. We have some questions here before we get into the game recaps. Pavan says,
Good evening, folks.
Played
evening, sir.
Played Dak over Rivers. I lost that battle. Played Hopkins and Juju wide receiver. Ben Fitzgerald, Galladay lost that battle. Hopkins and Juju did solid.
Hopkins got you a touchdown.
They didn't. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's it.
Oh, was that a statement?
Yeah. They didn't do as well as Galladay or Fitz.
Sorry.
And I mean,
neither one really killed you, though.
I think you did. You made the right call. It just didn't work out. I would have still preferred Rivers over Dak, but that was close-ish.
You could have got maybe Galladay over Juju. Jacksonville, particularly still very good against receivers, and Big Ben on the road is pretty garbage.
Yeah, those guys would have been close-ish for me, but I still probably would have gone Juju.
Yeah, it's a tough decision, and sometimes it doesn't work in your favor.
All right, he needs a streamer defense for Week 12. He played the Ravens defense for Week 11, didn't get much. Well, the Ravens get Oakland, so you're sticking with the Ravens.
You hold on. There's not very many good matchups left for them, so this is one of the last weeks you can play in with confidence.
If I remember right, their schedule is terrible after that in terms of opposing offenses, so I think you just drop them after that.
Probably.
Yeah, and honestly, there's not really a whole lot that's going to be on waivers that I would like more than that. Indianapolis maybe, and that's about it.
And they may have been scooped up at this point because they're one of the more popular hold and stash defenses.
Yeah, nothing else this week is really a good defensive matchup. So if you've got the Ravens, just hold them.
All right, and Jared wants to know, what up, guys? I need to pick up an RB to replace Carry-On. the next week or two, should I go for Riddick or Gus Bus, or do I just play Richard in his place? Without
Don't
knowing
go for Riddick this week.
You don't like Riddick?
Against the Bears.
Yeah.
You saw what happened.
No, I don't. And Gus Edwards has the Raiders. Yes,
yeah.
Gus Edwards. They'll take the hot hand approach, and he should be able to at least be involved in that one after this past game. So as long as he can keep somewhat of a semblance rolling, he'll get at least split carries. So I'm definitely Edwards over Riddick.
Yeah, Edwards as long as Lamar Jackson is in there, because it was the 3 option is where he was excelling.
Yep.
There was a hot hand approach to it because Collins did well. But
Collins did not do well.
Well, he scored.
He scored, but he was 7 for 18.
Yeah, but that's been a typical Collins day. Gus has surpassed Buck Allen already, and he's been rising up. They're going to stick with a hot hand here. Do right out with Gus here. It's a good matchup for him.
Yeah, I would go Gus, because there's probably work for Gus and Collins in a terrible, terrible Raiders defense matchup.
Yeah, and as far as pass catching running backs go, the Bears are down to 36.1 yards allowed.
Yeah, their linebacking core is extremely good too.
All right, and Pavan wants to know: do I pick up a defense for Week 13 and beyond? I would start looking that way. Colts, as previously mentioned, have a couple good playoff matchups.
I know Detroit's got Buffalo and Arizona 14 and 15.
Yeah, Detroit would be an interesting one to look at.
I've been stashing them in deeper leagues.
Bills have the Dolphins next week.
Yeah, Bills have Dolphins and Jets left, I believe. So there's some interesting ones you can pick up if you're looking Week 13 and beyond as some lower owned names.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would definitely start taking a look at that. If you have any particular teams you want us to take a look at their schedule and compare, we should, but those are just a couple names to at least look at. All right. Did I do the drop for a recap or no?
No.
All right. Let's talk about what the hell happened.
What the hell happened?
All right, and up first is the Giants winning their second game in a row here. They beat the Buccaneers 38-35. Hopper, what happened in this game, and anything that you saw in particular that we need to talk about?
A game scripted about as expected, actually. Starting with the Bucs, though, Fitzpatrick tossed 3 picks. We already talked about him being benched for Winston. Winston came in and played well. 12 of 16 for 199 yards, 2 touchdowns, just 1 pick, and just under a half a play.
And it was a desperation, like 30 seconds left, try to go win the game.
It made sense.
Yeah, it was a Hail Mary type of interception, so you don't really hate that. He came in and played out of his mind, though, with another good matchup coming up. Peyton Barber lived up to his start of the week billing, 106 and a touchdown with another 2 receptions. He continues to look just decent. Running back 2 levels of decent. This was a plus matchup. He did go ahead and take advantage of that.
Yeah,
Mike Evans.
It was kind of a slow start for him, but he built as the game went along. And then once Winston came in, the offense just kind of popped in total.
We were joking that Jameis Winston on the field was a plus 15 to all Peyton Barber's.
Oh my God! Yes,
ability.
That was a good times.
Mike Evans continued his kind of every other week trend. He was very efficient, just 7 targets, but he turned that into 120 yards and a touchdown. Godwin was 3 of 3 for 50, so another floor day for him.
On 50 targets, huh? I've been reading your notes here.
Yep, 50 targets. 3 of 3 on 50 targets. I knew what I meant. Giving you at least a floor day. Humphreys got 60 for 1 and a touchdown, which again is kind of why he's a weekly fill-in. It's the second or third straight good week.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. OJ Howard, he's just a tight end 1. It's all week in, week out, 5 of 6 for 78 yards. So everything you expected from the Bucs pretty much materialized.
Keep an eye on his ankle, though. He did hurt it late in the game. He did not come back in, and he is getting a second opinion on it.
And if it's bad, it's Cameron Brate season. And we know what Cameron Brate can do with Jameis Winston. He should be considered an equal level replacement.
Mm-hmm.
As for if you're an OJ Howard owner, stashing Brate, not a bad idea. As for the Giants, Eli was efficient thanks to Saquon and the defense. He threw just 18 times, but he completed 17 of those for 231 yards and 2 touchdowns. So if you did listen to me and start him, you're still not disappointed by that. It was a pretty solid week for Eli. He's been good in back-to-back weeks. Saquon Barkley had the day he should have. 3 total touchdowns, 150 total yards, 142 as a runner. Odell was efficient on the not a lot of volume to go around. 4 targets, 4 receptions, 71 on a touchdown. Ingram had just 2 targets, caught both of them for 66 yards. Shepard was the one that was really hurt by the volume. He also caught both of his targets, but just 22 yards there. So if Saquon's rumbling and the defense is playing well, you're not going to get a ton of throwing. That was the one thing that we were kind of wrong about here. They just bailed us out with efficiency.
All right. Anything else to add on that?
Yeah, just the defense. If you listened to me when I said they're an upside play with a creator of a floor, it actually played them. It really paid off for you. They had 4 picks, a forced fumble, and a defensive touchdown.
I think both the trapdoor defenses ended up doing okay because the Vikings was the other one and they were fine. Not amazing, but
Saints too.
Yeah,
I don't think
Saints.
we talked. Saints was unbelievable, but we'll get to that later.
All right. Then Pavan had a follow-up question. He says, Saints, Colts, Cowboys, Seahawks, and Titans D all on waiver wire. Can you rank them for Week 13 and beyond? We'll start off with the Seahawks here. Week 13, they go ahead and they get the 49ers.
Hold on. Only Hopper's video is moving. Are we losing stream? Sorry.
Go check OBS because sometimes it freezes on video.
Is that the video capture device?
Yeah, but the only way to fix it is to restart OBS. So you might be, if audio is still there, we may just be better off going with it.
Yeah, we got audio still, so we're just going to roll with it, guys. Sorry that we've lost the video. I'm just going to go ahead and logo out. We'll reboot for episode 2, guys.
Well, if the video is frozen, it's not going to logo out either. I don't think it might.
You said only Hopper's video is moving, so I wonder if it's ours.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Sorry for the on-air technical meeting, guys, but that's what I'm saying is that OBS, occasionally the camera will freeze. The camera input will. So you'll still get audio, but the camera input will freeze. But I'm not on your camera input. I'm on...
You're on a separate app.
The way OBS does it, it's separate inputs.
And unfortunately, I can't remove the camera input from OBS and move it over to Zoom and capture it that way, unfortunately.
Right.
Without breaking the streaming. So let's go ahead and answer the question, though. Starting off with the Seahawks, they get 49ers at home, Vikings at home, 49ers on the road, Chiefs at home for their last 4 in Week 13 and beyond.
So you get two played well. 2
good matchups, 2 bad matchups for them. So they're not a bad option. They'd be great in Week 13, though.
They're a pairing piece.
Yep. Cowboys get you Saints in 13, Eagles in 14, Colts in 15, Buccaneers in 16. That is a hell no.
That's terrible.
They've played well and they kept Atlanta's offense in check, but you're praying that continues to be the same, and I'm not trusting that.
Especially Saints and Colts. Those teams have just been defensive
and Philadelphia
killers.
has been typically been a pretty decent offensive team. So
all right. Colts gets Jaguars, Texans, Cowboys, and Giants in those 4 games.
Yep, Giants doesn't look as good as it did 3 weeks ago, but that's still really solid.
Yeah, and then Jaguars in 13 is fine. Their offense is terrible.
Yep.
All right, Titans. They get the Jets in 13, Jaguars in 14, Giants in 15, Redskins in 16. Hello.
That's a lot better now with the injury to
Alex Smith, yeah.
The defense hasn't been an issue for the most part.
So that's two awesome games, Jets and Redskins at home. Jaguars at home is solid, and the only one I'm at all concerned about is Giants on the road.
I'm going Tennessee so far just because they have a nice base, but Indy's close.
And then Saints is Cowboys, Buccaneers, Panthers, Saints. We're going Titans.
They're playing themselves.
Wait, they're playing
or,
themselves?
Sorry, Steelers. Even almost as bad.
Yeah. No, you're going to roll with Titans.
Grab the Titans.
Yeah.
It's Tennessee, Indy, and then everybody else.
And Seahawks probably would be the third.
Yeah, Tennessee, Indy, Seahawks, Saints, and then I would put Dallas last just because while they could play at that level week in, week out, I wouldn't hold my breath for it.
And now every Beerfield Fantasy listener, go grab the Titans.
Yes.
Yep.
All right, let's proceed on to the next game we've got up, which is going to be the Titans versus the Colts, where the Colts smoked them 38-10, but the Colts offense is significantly better than a lot of the other ones the Titans are going to be facing. Dan, what happened in this game? Any big takeaways?
Well, Mariota getting hurt. It looks like he re-injured the elbow that he hurt in week 1.
It is a, quote, stinger. It is not expected to be as serious as the last one.
Good, because if he's to miss any time, you're benching every single a Titans player. I don't trust Gabbard at all. But either way, I really can't talk much about Mariota because he got hurt in the middle of the game. The offense wasn't really looking that great to begin with. As for the running game, it's a lot of Derrick Henry, but that was mainly in garbage time. Dion Lewis, again, I'm sorry, guys. 2 weeks in a row, he's kind of been meh. But the offensive players and the play calling as a whole got pretty vanilla once Gabbard got in. And you got to see a glimpse of what life was like with him in those beginning weeks when Mariota was hurt. So I'm not too fond of that, but better weeks are ahead for them if Mariota is not to miss time. You can keep rolling out Deion Lewis. I expect the snaps to kind of revert back to what Lewis was getting. If Henry's going to get more snaps in garbage time, then so be it. As for the receiving core, Jonnu Smith, my start of the week, 8 targets, 6 for 44, didn't get a touchdown, but the uptick in targets and uptick in production is what the positive takeaway here is. And then better days are ahead. If they're going to get him more involved in this offense, if he's going to be, a part of the main top 3 target getters here, he may have some decent streamer value to him. It wasn't a particularly great matchup, but he was able to get at least the targets and production to get it there. Sharp was second in targets with 7, 537 and 1 on those. The number 2 in Tennessee has gone around like crazy. Sharp in and out. And then you saw it with I forgot the other guy. It's Taywan Taylor. So I'm not trusting that. I'm not chasing that stat line. And as for Corey Davis, he just saw 4 targets. It was not a great week for him, and what could have been a decent matchup because of the game script, but
it wasn't a great day for pretty much any Titan.
Yeah, so ugly. You can throw this away if Mariota comes back. If he is to miss at least a game, I'm not playing anybody. This offense looked bad with Gabbert. The defense was a shit show because of all this too. Luck is playing on another level at this point, and it's just a testament to how good he's looked, and then offense as a whole. And speaking of the Colts, if it wasn't for Breeze and Mahomes dominating the MVP talks, we'd be talking about Andrew Luck as a part of this conversation. 7 straight 3+ touchdown games, 4 straight game without 300 yards though, and just 1 game with over 30 attempts during that span. But he's just getting it done. You're not going to ever sit him.
And hasn't been sacked in 5 games.
He hasn't been sacked in 5 games. He's only during that 4-game stretch, 13 touchdowns and 1 pick. So the
weird thing about the Colts called they have a defense.
Yeah, the defense is phenomenal. The offensive line is giving Luck days.
And the play calling is so much better than it was under Pagano.
Yeah, and the play calling is exactly. Marlon Mack wasn't a great matchup, but he fell into the end zone, finished his day with 16 for 61 and a touchdown, added a catch for 8 yards. As the game went along and got game scripted out, he just lost that use. He gets a great matchup next week against the Dolphins. More on that in episode 2.
Yeah, check our part 2 episode, or aka our mini Wednesday episode.
Yeah. And then the rest of the guys, Jordan Wilkins got in, was able to get a touchdown, but that's garbage time. You're not chasing that because you can't predict garbage time. And then Hines, again, just meh to him. Receiving core, T.Y. finally got targets, 9 of them, caught all 9 of his targets, 155 yards, 2 touchdowns, big plays, small plays. This is what you were looking for from him, and this is why even through his med weeks, you have to keep rolling him out there because his upside is top receiver upside. So
yeah, you can single-handedly win you weeks if he goes off.
Exactly. And it was really the receivers this week, and a name that we may need to talk about is Dontrell Inman. This is his 3rd straight game of being the considered 2 here. He's at 17 targets in 3 games, which is great, but he's getting the targets to be the 2, and we've seen what the 2 can do here. You got 6 this game, 4 for 34, and a touchdown on that. I think he's someone you can potentially pick up in 12+ team leagues. It's just a stash to see what happens.
He's not dropping the ball like Rodgers and Grant were.
Nope, and that's what you're looking for.
He was also solid last year when he was given the targets and the opportunity.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But the tight ends, we mentioned the issue with Ebron and the low snaps and just the low chances. And we warned you that a dud week was coming, and it happened. Goose egg this week. I think he had, 3 targets? If that? No, I mean, 0. Everything 0.
He had one pass attempt.
One pass attempt. The Titans as a whole, I mean, Doyle only had 4 targets. Those are early when the game was still, wasn't out of question at that point. 4 for 43 on those. And that's just mainly because he didn't need to use the safety blanket. But you guys... Is there any concern with Ebron? And are you more Doyle or Ebron rest of the season?
I mean, I still think Ebron's got 1 or 2 more boom games in him. So if you're rolling Ebron out, you're doing it with the knowledge that, hey,
upside weeks or
yeah, he can blow up for me and score 2 touchdowns any given week.
Okay,
but you're risking it, and this is the downside you can see. I don't think this is going to be his norm.
Well, no, he's
going
to get targets.
But we could absolutely see another dud week coming up.
Okay.
There's just so much more ceiling to Ebron to where I would probably lean him over Doyle, especially if, Luck is not throwing it a ton. And I mean, 4 targets versus 3, it's really comes down to what they did with them. That's not a huge discrepancy in volume. Neither one's great. So if Luck's not throwing a ton, as long as the defense is doing this, I'm probably going to be leaning more Ebron because of the upside he gives you and the potential add a touchdown versus just a floor from Doyle that's completely volume contingent.
Though in the in Scott Fishbowl where I had an Ebron Luck stack, I was so sad when that tight end throw didn't connect with Luck.
That'd have been hilarious. He did have 0, but I did misread that. But again, just like Hopper said, 4 targets isn't a whole lot to hang high on, even with Doyle.
Yeah, not a ton of floor there.
But as the offenses get better, and can keep themselves in game, I think Mariota would have stayed healthy. And then the Colts defense on fire, obviously. 2 picks, 5 sacks, only 10 points allowed. All they were missing was a touchdown.
They're already getting pretty steamrolled when Mariota got hurt, too.
Yeah, it was. Colts showed up that day.
All right. You all set?
That's it.
All right. Pavan has one last question here. It's is it okay to pick up Gus and drop Yeldon? Unless you're the Fournette owner, yes.
Yes.
Even right now? Oh, yeah. I would do it even if you were the Fournette owner.
There's more upside to Gus.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Moving on to Panthers versus the Lions, where the Panthers go for 2 with under a minute left to try to win the game. Fail to convert, lose this one 20-19.
Deserved it.
On the Panthers side, it wasn't always pretty. He was getting sacked and hurried a bunch. He had a couple missed throws and a lot of drops from some guy named Funchess. But Cam gave you an excellent day passing with 357 yards, 3 touchdowns, and just 1 pick. Weirdly, he only had 2 rushing yards, which kept this from just being in a crazy blow-up day, but you'll take it. It was still 30-plus points and 6-point passing touchdowns. McCaffrey returned to his touchdownless ways, 110 yards on 19 touches. I think this is closer to his normal production, and the weird touchdown streak we had going forward was a little strange.
It's hard to predict any running back ever getting more than a touchdown a game, even.
And a lot of his touchdowns were from kind of like they were
they're
longer plays or fluky
there was
plays.
Goal line to them. It's just they didn't have. I don't think they had a lot of goal line opportunity. If they did, it was he threw it.
Yeah,
Cam threw it.
Yeah, I think they had because it was the Olsen touchdown was a goal line play.
And Morris, I think too.
Speaking of DJ Moore, breakout game
again. Second one.
This was a serious breakout game.
Sad I left him on my bench.
7 catches for 157 yards and a touchdown, including an 82-yard play he didn't score on. He couldn't quite break away from the defense.
Oh my God, he was so gassed after that.
He was so tired. This was on 8 targets. He tied Funchess and McCaffrey for team leading targets. Funchess had the worst dropsy game I've seen in a long time. He had at least 3 or 4 plays where it's like, how do you not catch that? And he just kept doing it. My favorite was the one where he was on the ground basically doing the splits, like looking at the ball, like how did you not end up in my hands?
Yeah, it was bad.
2 for 39 on 8 targets in this one. The only other player of note for the receivers is Curtis Samuel. 7 targets in this one, 5 for 55, and yet another touchdown. In 14, 16 team leagues, I think you should be added at this point.
I think the receiving core there is starting to shake up a bit as you're starting to see Moore and Samuel who fit better to what Cam does.
Well, and they just once they get the ball, they can do so much in space.
Exactly.
Whereas that is not Funchess' game.
No, I mean he's gonna still have there's gonna be some wide receiver 2 days for him coming up here. He'll get a touchdown with 60 yards, but if this was a game he could have killed it, just given the amount of chances he had.
Yeah, he dropped at least one touchdown and multiple big plays he couldn't corral. So yeah, Funchess had a much better day here that he should have had.
Yeah.
Greg Olson, 2 of 3 targets, 9 yards and a touchdown. So at least he got you the touchdown to bail his day out. But it was not a pretty tight end week.
No, Jordan Reed's the tight end 1 right now. This week, 771 and a touchdown.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Well, Kelsey.
That's because
hopefully,
Ertz put up Ertz had 3 targets.
Yeah, it was ugly all around for tight ends this week.
Yeah, it's bad.
Defense underperformed expectations, kept the Lions to just 20 points, no turnovers, and only 1 sack, though. So they disappointed what you're hoping for. And I blame live studio audience for Graham Gano's struggles.
Yep. It strikes again.
End of season schedule for the Panthers, home versus the Seahawks, at the Buccaneers, at the Browns. Saints at home, Falcons at home. So they have quite a few nice games left. The only one I'm at all really concerned about is going to be the Seahawks and maybe at the Browns. But Cam should be a auto start rest of way, even with some of those matchups. On the Lions side, where Stafford was mostly quiet, 220 yards and a single touchdown. No major mistakes, though. So if you needed a floor to add a Stafford, you got it, but definitely not it's kind of been what Stafford's been lately, kind of around 13, 14 points. He has massively underperformed what we were hoping. Before the knee injury, this was all carry on the running game, though. 17 touches for 97 yards and a touchdown. Blunt had 7 touches, and Theo had 6, and some of those were late after carry on got hurt. So as long as the injury doesn't keep him out, this is carry on's backfield going forward. He has locked this shit down.
He should.
Galladay, 14 fucking targets. Caught 8 for 113 and a touchdown. It was all him with a sprinkling in of Bruce Ellington getting 9 targets, mostly short. Caught 6 for 52 yards. So shout out Hopper start of the week for Bruce Ellington on that one. That was a solid PPR day.
Yeah, I thought it was a real deep cut too. So if you did that in a deep league, you're happy.
And the tight ends combined for 2 targets, 1 catch, and I believe 8 yards. So
again,
whoop-dee.
Tight end wasteland.
Yep, the Lions, where tight ends go to die.
It's a tight end
wasteland.
Boop, boop.
And a season schedule, a little ugly for the Lions. They get the Bears, Rams. They get 2 decent matchups, Cardinals and Bills, and then they end with the Vikings.
For running backs, because receivers and quarterbacks, that's bad. The Bills and Cardinals are still pretty good against them both.
I mean,
Galladay, if it's just Galladay should be fine because of volume.
And that Peterson doesn't shadow, but White does. So yeah, there's some ugly games here.
No, he gets the Tate roll too, so he'll get some safe.
Rams might be an okay throwing game. Cardinals probably an okay running game. Bills okay-ish.
Running game.
Vikings, Bears are awful. So yeah, not a great end of season schedule for the Lions.
Yeah.
Hopper, you're up next. Where the Ravens, headed by the rookie Lamar Jackson, running way more than he was throwing.
25, I think you're right.
27.
27.
Christ.
Beat the Bengals 24-21 and made Jen quite sad all day.
All right. Well, let's start with Andy Dalton. He was ugly, just 19 of 36 for 211 yards, 2 touchdowns. It's not a great day, not a killer. That's him and Joe Flacco in a nutshell, honestly, even though Flacco didn't play. Mixon had just 52 total yards. He saved his day with a rush touchdown. Other than that, it was pretty ugly for the running game. Gio saw 4 receptions, but just 6 touches, so he's not really worth anything. Tyler Boyd got the target volume with 11 in this one. He only caught 4. He did turn that into 74 yards. John Ross managed a touchdown, but caught just 2 of his 7 targets. It was a tough matchup for those guys, so it was good to see at least Tyler Boyd do something with it as a wide receiver 1 again.
Mm-hmm.
CJ Uzama, 5 targets, 3 receptions, 41 yards. That's your tight end floor day. And the defense got completely.
Yeah. Matt Lengle, the Bengal, was entertaining that he caught a touchdown.
Yeah, that was about the only thing. And really, if you started Uzama, that was not entertaining at all. As for the Ravens, Lamar Jackson did kind of what we thought he probably would do as his upside. 13 and 19 for 150 and an interception through the air, which was my concern with him, but he ran 27 times for 117 yards, which is where you were going to get the floor from him and any upside he had. No touchdowns, though, entirely. Unless it's a 2-quarterback league, he still should probably stay under bench. You just can't count on 117 rush yards and 27 attempts from a quarterback every week.
He's not getting 27 rushing attempts.
And this was one of the easiest matchups. Maybe you roll him out against Oakland, but this is a super easy matchup.
Yep. Gus Edwards had a coming out party, 17 attempts for 115 yards and a touchdown in this hot hand approach. So he's worth a stash. Cincinnati does have a mad defense though. So, but Oakland's isn't any better. They're actually probably worse. So you're good with Gus Edwards for another week. Alex Collins, he had just 1 second half carry and 7 total, 18 total yards, but he bailed you out with a touchdown. So if you started him, the touchdown is what saved you because Gus Edwards grabbed the bull by the horns, as Harbaugh put it. Baltimore played it safe with Willie Snead getting the majority of targets for wide receivers. He had 8, caught 5 for 51. No other receiver earns a mention here because they weren't targeted.
And they were not even trying to throw deep at all.
No, Crabtree and Brown had a combined 4 targets.
Yep. That's why Willie Snead got it, because he is their slot safety net.
Yep.
The defense managed to be not a bad play, but not an exceptional one for fantasy. It was more of, you didn't love it for fantasy, but but it wasn't great for the Bengals either, so they didn't kill you, but it wasn't fantastic.
Yeah, it's just a situation where real life defense doesn't match up to fantasy scoring.
Yep.
No, because fantasy scoring relies on interceptions and sacks and big play.
All right. Up next is Cowboys going up against the Falcons. Cowboys win this one 22-19 on a last-second field goal. Dan, what are our takeaways from this game?
Should we answer some questions first?
We got some more questions. Okay.
Richard Lopez wants to know, any chance Gus is a long-term dynasty play? No. I think Baltimore made their mistake and not drafting their running back higher this year. I don't even think they drafted one. While Gus is a nice find as an undrafted free agent, this team needs a playmaker running back desperately. And while Gus looked good against a bad Bengals run defense, he didn't look particularly great in preseason or the beginning of the season.
He looked okay in the preseason.
They still need a dynamic playmaker, especially if Jackson's the future quarterback here, which is why you drafted him. You're gonna need to pair him up with the running back that could take pressure out.
I think they're more likely to go after a wide receiver and some other positions than a running back this year, especially with it being a weak running back class. So he may have some value next year. I think eventually they address the position though.
Well, maybe.
So
there's a running back that plays in their division that played in their division that's now a free agent.
Yeah, they're not paying for Bell. Alex says, should kneel downs really count as rushing attempts? Unfortunately, they do. I've lost games because of that.
Yeah, I've seen the worst and the best though. I've actually won a game because of quarterback kneel downs. It happens.
And then Pavan, I did not know you guys exist until 5 weeks ago, so make sure you follow off season.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it, and thanks for jumping in and finding us, and hopefully we help you win games and get you a championship.
Yep, and he says he'll be around for next year's draft, so we'll have to get him prepped, and hopefully we play some Dynasty because we are year-round.
Yes.
Yep, we go all year. We don't do 3 a week in the off season, but we have at least at minimum 1 a week. So hang around.
And by draft season, we're up to 2. We watch a lot of rookies, more than I think a lot of the besides the main Dynasty ones. We watch a shit ton.
Even then, man,
yeah.
we watch
There are rookies we watch that don't even end up picked up as undrafted free agents.
Yeah.
So
we watched close to, it was 110 we did this last year.
Was it? I thought it was like 130 something.
100. I thought it was 119.
I think we pared it down from 119 to closer to 110.
We watch over 100.
Too many.
We watch over 100. Yeah, too many. We may knock it down, but we make sure you're well informed.
Yeah. The issue is how do you streamline it? It was because there was a few guys we even missed. All right. But Dan, you're up next with the Cowboys and the Falcons.
All right, we'll start with the Cowboys here. Away team, disappointing game in terms of what this could have been. As his is in a popular streaming option in Dak, 22 of 32, 208 yards through the air, added 5 yards and a touchdown to save his day. We expected more, but it is what it is. Redskins, Saints, Eagles up next. All home games. Dak has played particularly better. At home, 7 touchdowns to 1 pick at home, as opposed to 4 touchdowns, 4 interceptions on the road. Should be a better days ahead for Mr. Prescott. Zeke continues to do Zeke things, and since the Cooper trade, his last 3 games, averaging 25 touches, nearly 6 receptions in those 3 games a game, 167 total yards, and he scored 3 touchdowns during that span. this balanced attack that Cooper gives them has really helped spark Zeke, and even in some of the more difficult matchups that are coming up, he's fine. Obviously, you're never going to sit him, but there were concerns about maybe trade him beforehand because of him. With how the offense looks now, with how he's being used, you're completely fine with him. And then speaking of Amari Cooper, this should have been a far better game. Only 5 targets, 3 for 36. He missed the 8-target mark where you want to hit it. But Dak just missed him on a few plays. You can maybe tell there's still some issues, but Cooper made some incredible plays in this game, and this could have been.
Yeah, he had a couple nice plays. The offense just didn't get it going as a passing offense.
I mean, Atlanta's defense stepped up, and again, Dak's a different quarterback on the road, at least this season from what we've seen. Zeke led the team in targets with, I think, 8. Beasley was 7. He finished 5 for 51, just a safety net again. He'll always be that. You won't get a lot of big
he did drop a touchdown.
Yep. You won't get a lot of big plays from him or big games from him, but he won't kill you as well. Gallup and Swaim had 5 targets apiece. Neither did anything with them, but Swaim at least is the main tight end target there for whatever that's worth. And their defense was okay. 1 interception, 3 sacks with 19 points allowed. And it would have been a terrible matchup. They showed up.
Yeah, nobody started them, but if you did, you did okay.
I don't know why, but you got rewarded. Moving on to the Falcons. Down week for Mac Ryan. Wasn't terrible, but just from what we've seen this season, it could have been more. 24 for 34, 291, a touchdown and a pick. Saints are up next, so this could be. He's a top 5 play, top 3.
We'll get to that on Wednesday's episode. Yeah. That's on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. As for the running game here, Coleman looked great actually with the chances that he got. Problem is he only saw 8 carries and 3 targets.
Yeah, it seemed like every carry was busting off for 10 yards, but he didn't get in the end zone.
They kept kind of rolling in Edo Smith there after a couple carries, maybe to give Coleman some rest, but I think he had 6 and a couple of receptions. So, again, hopefully you didn't play him either. But it's good to see Coleman showing up again. 11 touches for 85 yards was his day, so it wasn't terrible. And then Julio Jones, 3rd week in a row with the touchdown. So
pretty sure 2nd. I don't think he's got 3 in a row.
I think he scored 3 in a row, I'm pretty sure. Either way, even if I'm wrong, he scored again. 6 for 118 and a touchdown on 9 targets. We said it before, even in what's considered a difficult matchup, you trust Julio. Sanu and Ridley, though, were meh. Sanu, 6 targets, 4 for 56 on those. Didn't kill you if you played him. Ridley, my sit of the week. Came through on that, though, 3 for 32 on 5 targets. Austin Hooper, again, 8 targets. Is the second game in a row he's at 8 or more, so the targets are getting there, and the production should continue to be there. He only finished 4 for 27 on those. So,
by the way, it is 3 in a row.
I checked it as 3. Yeah, Washington, 3, Cleveland, Dallas.
Yeah.
Yep, 3 straight touchdowns and 6 of 7 100+ yard games.
Yeah, he's Julio again, and with Matt Ryan arguably on pace to match his MVP season numbers. You just throw Julio out there and have fun.
Yeah, Ryan and Cam have kind of been ignored with how good they've been doing, but if it wasn't for Mahomes and Breeze, they'd be up there.
Well, same with Luck.
And Luck.
Yeah, and that's not to say anything bad about them. It's just what Breeze and Mahomes
quarterback
have done.
plays up
in general.
In
Yeah.
general,
yes.
Been a lot of fun.
I saw a stat the other day that said Carson Wentz, who was a front runner last year, Trubisky's actually got better numbers than him.
And Trubisky's not even in the conversation.
Yep.
He should be, honestly. Anyways.
All right. That all you got on that game?
Yes, sorry.
All right. Then we'll go ahead and proceed to Steelers versus the Jaguars, where the Steelers win 20-16 on a last-second Ben Roethlisberger touchdown. On the Steelers side, it was a tale of 2 halves for Ben. 3 picks before he got anything going in this one. Second half, he's finally picked it up. 314 yards, 2 passing and 1 rushing touchdowns to go with the pick. Saved his fantasy day, gave you about 20 points and 4-point passing touchdowns. So overall, not what you're hoping for, but with this last-second diving touchdown, he gave you what you were hoping for. It was pretty ugly up until that point.
Yeah.
That dive was ugly, too.
Oh, yeah. I didn't think he got in when I first saw it.
That was like Joe Flacco sliding.
It
Bad.
was not pretty.
It was terrible. Not majestic at all.
No, I don't think anything Roethlisberger does is real majestic.
Nope.
No.
Connor Sarger's 15 touches in this game. Offense struggled early and could not keep drives sustained. Only 49 yards. There are some concerns about his floor in the toughest matchups here because he just does not have the just usage in the passing game. Like, he gets some dump offs, but he's not used as a pure weapon like Bell was. So when you run into some of these games where they're playing catch up, this is a little bit of a concern for Connor. Overall, still love him. He'll have much better days ahead, but just something to note that if they run into another buzzsaw type matchup with where the defense is excellent, lower expectations.
And road Ben and just road Pittsburgh is always worse.
So Brown saw 13 targets. Juju saw 10. Both were real slow. I think Brown had one catch into like late in the first half. And then they both just exploded late. Both broke 100 yards. Brown had a touchdown on a 78-yard broken play. The only other pass catcher that was involved, though, was McDonald. Caught 3 of 6 for 27 yards and a touchdown. So, yeah, if you started anybody else, I don't know why you would, but sorry, but at least the 3 main guys.
At least
took care of it.
McConnell's been kind of consistent as of recent.
Yeah, occasionally James breaks out and does better, but it's usually McDonald.
We get to add another tight end to the streaming pool. That's please.
We'll take it.
Note on Connor, by the way, he does not have another buzzsaw matchup. The Broncos aren't great on the road, but that's his worst one going forward.
I'll take it. Yeah, you can run decently well on the Broncos. They're not.
They've been better of late, but
You can
Pittsburgh's
run on
offense should be fine.
Defense got you 6 sacks and a turnover, held the Jaguars to 16 points, so they finished with a solid day there. And a season schedule for them at the Broncos, Chargers at home, at the Raiders, Patriots, and at the Saints. Saints is a tough one.
Yeah,
Not a buzzsaw, but tough.
not a buzzsaw, but it's still tough. I mean, the Jaguars' run defense is tougher than the Saints has been. Let's just put it that way. So
I
it
agree
is
with that.
it is on the road, so you'll adjust. But I think this is probably the worst game rest of season for Connor.
All right. For the Jaguars, I mentioned that Bortles should be 6 feet under your bench. He buried himself there with this performance. 104 yards passing, 17 yards rushing, had a fumble. Since the season has started, he has been going the wrong way since about week 2.
You think
I
he
started
gets?
him in one. Just saying.
You think he gets benched with the season almost lost at this point?
I mean, why? What is
Is
it?
Cody Kessler a better option?
Well, no, but
Then no.
it's the same reason why you give rookies chances to see what you have.
They don't have like Kessler
Okay.
is not an answer.
Well, I didn't say they
Hey,
need to. I'm saying, what's the
if-
chance of them?
Is Tanner Lee on the practice squad? Because that's the see what you have moment.
God, please don't. No, we'll stick with Bortles instead.
Start every defense against them if Tanner Lee comes
Oh,
out.
he's so bad.
Fournette had 30 touches in this game, though. He led the team in both rushing and receiving, 141 total yards and a touchdown, so he gave you a
Jesus.
solid day. Hyde had 8 touches, Yeldon had 7. They're splitting pretty evenly and not enough to trust behind Fournette's 30.
So this trade for Hyde.
I don't know why. And Fournette was the only player with over 20 receiving yards in this matchup. I would drop every single receiver on this team going forward. There's no reason to have any of them.
Well, I mean, Moncrief's got ups. If you're looking for boom upside, at least he gets that. And Pittsburgh's defense has played pretty lights out recently.
Receivers
I'm not
kind of
saying
in a
you need
place
to
you can
throw
kind
him
of
out
attack
there,
them,
but I'm just saying.
And as a special note, Cole with another goose egg.
Yeah.
Womp 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 womp.
Defense did better than I was expecting, though, against this tough Steelers offense. 3 picks, 2 sacks, solid finish for them. End of season schedule, they get a recovery game against the Bills next week. The Colts at home, at the Titans, Redskins, and at the Dolphins. So if you own the Jaguars, congratulations. That is an excellent end of season schedule.
It is.
Up next, to finish off the noon games, Texans going into Washington to play the Redskins. Texans win 23-21. Dustin Hopkins missed, I believe, a 63-yard field goal as time expired to try to win this game.
Had the line, just not the distance.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
it was
5 yards short.
A little short.
Yeah.
Good attempt, though.
Good try. A for effort. He gets a participation point. All right. As for the Texans, let's start with them. Watson, tough day in what should have been a plus matchup. He was under pressure, though. Completed 16 of 24 for 208, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, just 3 rushes for 7 yards. The defense played well. But
Apologies to anyone I told to start Watson this week.
yeah, him under pressure was rough. Lamar Miller was meh. He did total 108 total yards through 22 receiving yards and 86 rushing for a solid running back 2 game. Touchdown away from making you really happy. But this was another supposedly bad matchup that he performed in, but more of note, the Redskins have made Lamar Miller and Peyton Barber in back-to-back weeks look like running back 2s.
And Tevin Coleman went off against some. Yeah, so this whole vaunted run defense has looked bad 3 straight weeks.
I'm not sure what's going on. I
don't care. I got Zeke going against them next week.
I think he bounces back a little bit.
Yeah. And then the wide receivers, Hopkins was just okay, 5 for 56 and a touchdown. Kiki Kuti is the biggest thing to note here. He picked up where he left off, and he should probably be owned in all leagues as another one of those floor type of wide receivers that you want to have on your bench in case of injury. He saw 9 targets, got 5 for 77 yards. So he's kind of more Adam Humphries than Willie Snead. He doesn't have a lot of touchdown upside, but it's a PPR option or half PPR option that you're looking to get a little bit of volume that should be plus 50 yards most games. He's a pretty good one.
And then DT dudded you.
And DT gave you a goose egg, which, yep, I've got to be wrong about at least one start of the week every week, and that was the one. That was it right there.
You drop him, Maris, and redraft?
I would strongly consider it.
I mean, you're getting to that point where you got to start making some probably. Well, the heavy bye weeks are done.
Yeah, there's only 2 teams on bye next week.
Just what type of upside is he going to give you? If Cootie is actually now the 2, and I mean, it's a late season trade we've mentioned before. We've hammered that home a lot. That it can be difficult.
They don't pay off, but if you're in deeper leagues and you have Demaryius Thomas, the upside might be hard to let go of. It would depend on what the Texans' schedule is the rest of the way, and
what's available.
Yeah, they got the Eagles in 16, which is a plus second matchup for secondary. The Jets in 15.
So some good options.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Colts in 14, which is not as good.
Well, scoring should keep them involved there.
The Browns in 13. So, and the Titans this week. So, 3 out of the next 4 plus matchups.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
That's just something to keep in mind.
And defense got a pick 6, so that helped.
Yep, defense did have a pick 6. As for the Redskins, Alex Smith had a very forgettable game, or probably a never forget game. 12 for 27, 135 yards, 2 interceptions, 2 broken leg bones, and he's done for the season.
He
might be done. That's a Joe Theisen injury. That could be career.
Yeah, it was a compound fracture. It broke through the skin, and it was I've never heard the term before, a spiral fracture, where it actually like rotates through the break. So he's got a real tough recovery.
Watching that live when all 4 of us are really hungover was I'm surprised. I'm surprised nobody got sick.
Let's just say that cured at least 3 hangovers.
It was
at least temporarily.
It was bad.
We got from watching that.
Everyone but Hurricane.
Maybe I was. Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody else's hangover just instantly was cured, even if only momentarily.
Yeah.
But the other thing that was freaky about that was you saw the note that it was 33 years, same day in Washington, same final score, and done by a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year.
Well, that's
Smith
like,
and Theismann.
That's like Freaky Friday shit there.
Yeah. Anyway, enough about that. Colt McCoy came in relief, completed 50% of his passes, 6 of 12 for a touchdown. He may actually provide some upside for a few players in this, honestly. He's a little bit more apt to take risks than what Alex Smith is. So if Jamison Crowder can get healthy, or Trey Quinn playing that role, and Jordan Reed specifically, I think may actually see a bump up from that injury, which is kind of a rarity when a quarterback injury gives your fantasy guys a bump.
Well, because you don't care about him making mistakes and throwing picks. You just want him to throw touchdowns to your guys. So,
yep. Adrian Peterson carried the ball just 16 times for a whopping 51 yards, but he did have 2 touchdowns. So that made you happy. He's giving you a couple duds, but mostly he's been a relatively consistent running back too all year, and I think that probably continues, especially with McCoy in the game.
Yeah, they'll lean on him heavily now.
He is slowing down.
He does look slow, but he can still run through people, and he's still shifty, even though he doesn't have the same acceleration.
Yeah,
is what I've
as the
noticed from
season
watching him.
as the season drags on, though, he may continue to slow down. So
We'll see how much the defenses he plays against really hones in on that running game. That's my concern. Even with him leading on him more, is can he be productive with his volume?
Exactly.
if your trade deadline hasn't passed, I would try to sell off this game.
Yeah.
Good call.
All right. Jordan Reed had 11 targets, caught 7 for 71 and a touchdown. It's a throwback performance. He was 3 for 3 for 31 and a touchdown with McCoy in the game, which he had a tight end one day after McCoy came in most weeks. So if he gets target volume or they use him as a safety net, you're going to be happy you held him and didn't listen to Nick when he said drop him, but we'll see how that plays out.
I don't think I said drop him.
I'm pretty sure he did.
Either way, he
came up in a couple cut episodes.
He was strongly considered as one, just given where it was going. I mean, it was good to see him get targets with Smith, and it was good to see what he did with McCoy. But I mean, we'll see what happens moving forward.
Yep, and then Trey Quinn is a name to watch going forward. Caught 4 for 49 yards. He was the most efficient wide receiver in his first game back. Doxson, though, led all receivers with 7 targets, but he only caught 3 of them. And the defense was fine in this one. Mostly, they didn't have a couple picks, and the pass defense really overperformed, even though the rush defense was just kind of okay.
All right. Anything else to add on that game?
Nope.
All right. Let's go ahead and review.
Should we do some? There's some Slate news that broke out. Actually, just per listener, actually just told us in chat.
Because I don't even know a sleeper about notification about it.
From per listener, Alex saying that Jeff Swain broke his wrist. He said he just got the notification. So Dallas doesn't have a whole thing of tight ends.
It is on Roto World, so yep.
Yep.
Rico gather season, probably not, but I'm still not trusting any tight ends. There.
Probably
We see how it shakes out.
Jarwin.
Yeah, or Schultz. They try to give the rookie some run.
All right.
There's another question.
All right.
Pubbin wants to know Cootie or Sutton this week.
This week, rest of season.
I'm assuming this week. If you want to provide PPR or league scoring for us, man, that'd be great, because I think it does change. I think in PPR I'm starting Cootie.
So the Texans have the Titans. That's not a great matchup. And the Broncos have the Steelers. Also not a great matchup.
Ooh.
Full PPR, I'm probably going QT, and standard, I'm going Sutton.
Yeah. That'd be where I lean.
Yep.
All right. Well, with all that, let's now review a beer.
Beer review.
Oh, and just to correct my earlier statement, I'm sorry, Nick. You never said cut him. I believe he was your dynasty faller, which is still a fair take.
Yes.
It's a very fair take. Any change? It's a standard scoring and rest of the season between Cutie and Sutton.
Sutton, then.
Yeah.
All right. What'd you guys think of Black Raspberry Dreamsicle by Pipeworks Brewing Company?
So mine is admittedly slightly warm because I found out that this is what we were drinking about 5 minutes before the show started and was wildly unprepared. My fault, because it's not like I'm short on fridge space. It is very creamy all the way through. You do definitely get a hint of that black raspberry, which is a black raspberry, just kind of like, I don't know, blackberry.
I'm not sure a lot of things call themselves Black Raspberry. I'm not sure what the flavor difference is.
I'm not either. It's not tart at all, though. You get definitely the fruity notes up front, but it is not tart at all. Just kind of a nice creamy finish. Normally when I think of Dreamsicle, I think of orange stuff. So that was a little bit weird take, but overall not bad.
Yeah, I like the it's just, I can't put a specific berry taste to it. It's just kind of a general berry cream flavor to it.
It's almost like blueberry and raspberry. That kind of just
A little bit.
That's where I get, because I picked this up a few weeks or a couple months ago when my work got it. I pounded through a 4-pack in 2 nights.
No, it's incredibly drinkable. It goes down real easy.
Yeah, it's not overly bitter. The cream
Especially
really
Pipeworks. It usually does higher ABV stuff that does have an alcohol taste to it.
Yeah, it's They do great work. I've only had one thing where I've been met on from them, but this with the lactose really helps with that creamy finish and just with the overall just body that this beer presents.
All right. Well, thank you for Pipeworks for coming on the episode. Let's go ahead and proceed to our last 4 games that happened Sunday. Dan, I'm going to have to ask you to go quick on this one because it was a total ass whooping. Saints win 48-7 over the Eagles at home. It was never even really close. It was ugly on one side.
Okay, so if you really want to make it quick, you're going to throw this game out for quarterbacks and receivers, but the running backs is something that we need to talk about because Josh Adams, even in a very difficult matchup for what the Saints have done to running backs this season, was the only bright spot in this game for the Eagles. He finished for 7 for 53 on the ground and a touchdown. Great. The thing that we want to talk about, though, is he had 6 targets in the passing game, and Clemente Smallwood saw a total of 3 carries. This is Josh Adams' backfield right now, which is great for the Eagles because now it just takes that away from him.
Yep. I will be highlighting Josh Adams on a Wednesday episode. Wednesday, quote-unquote, episode.
But as for that...
coming to you live, if not 10 minutes after this one in.
But Wentz, like I said, it's a throwaway game from, it was bad, 3 picks, only 156 yards. Giants and Redskins up next. I think both are at home. He's fine there. With the receivers, because of Wentz's poor game, didn't do much with it. Tate had 8 targets, 5 for 48 on those. So you're starting to see that safety, that shift over to Wentz now with Philadelphia. Jeffrey had 5. Ertz had just three fucking targets, which I don't understand how you don't get your number 1 passing option more involved. But again, throw this game away for them.
Decided 16 last week was too many and decided to average it out.
Fucking ridiculous. This sucks because this should have been a great game.
Or at least closer.
This should have gone over with what the Saints said. We'll move on to the Saints. So Breeze on fire again. This is a 4-touchdown game, giving him 21 touchdowns in the season. 11 touchdowns over his last 3 games. He, like Luck, is on a 3+ touchdown streak. He's on fire, and I don't know how you can bench him at this point. The running game is back to his old self. With the game never in question, the Saints pounded Mark Ingram, 18 carries, 103 yards, 2 touchdowns against one of the better run defenses this season. Kamara finally got into the end zone late into the game. He caught his lone target for a 37-yard touchdown, for a 37-yard catch and run touchdown. But he also added 13 for 71 on the ground. This Saints team is on fire, and even against a good Philly defense, even though their secondary sucks, this is eye-opening, even more so.
Yeah, unless you started any of their tight ends, you're pretty happy right now.
Yeah. Michael Thomas continued his fantastic season, caught off 4 of his targets for 92 yards and a touchdown. But my crush and show crush, Jaquan Smith, 13 targets, 10 catches, 157 yards and a touchdown. Season high and obviously career high for him. After posting a goose egg last week, I say run him out there again. There's a lot of upside with him in this offense, and he paid off in a huge way. And he's important to the Saints team because he provides the deep play threat that Ted Ginn was able to provide when he was healthy with them. So keep rolling him out there. He may give you some dud games, but this Saints team is clicking on all cylinders. So try to get a piece of it if you can. And then something named Keith Kurtwood was second on the team with 5 targets.
You mean third?
No, he was second. He had more targets than Michael Thomas. Thomas had 4 targets.
Okay.
So Keith Kurtwood, apparently 5 targets was a thing. As Nick mentioned, the tight ends Ben Watson, Goose Egg, and the defense was legit. 3 interceptions, 3 sacks, 7 points allowed. There's a trap game. That was
I started him out of necessity and it went great.
Keith Kirkwood, by the way, was a guy that was on their practice squad that Drew Brees apparently lobbied to have made active.
Okay.
So
Potential, yeah, good.
I'll keep an eye on him, especially if anything happened to Smith or Thomas.
Yeah.
I caught that note during the broadcast. Thank you, Red Zone Channel.
Doing his job.
That all you got?
That's it.
Moving on to Broncos at the Chargers, where the Broncos win this one 23-22 on a last-second field goal. Starting off with the Broncos, I'm going to say one nice thing about Case Keenum. He didn't take any sacks. He didn't throw any picks.
Whoa, wow.
Beyond that, though, no touchdowns, 205 yards on 32 attempts. Continues to be really, really underwhelming. So many streams of the week calls for him have not worked out.
We just given up on that. It doesn't matter. We're done with him.
Lindsey does keep making explosive plays, though. He gave you a 41 41-yard touchdown run in this one, on the way to a 15-touch, 106 total yard, 2-touchdown performance. Royce was sprinkled in, gave you 30 yards on 8 touches and a touchdown. It's Booker's buried again, so it's down to these two. Any concerns about Lindsey only having 15 touches, though?
This is Mark Ingram Kamara light.
Very light.
Obviously, but that was the concern when Freeman came back. Lindsey continues to be massively efficient, which is why he's always a flex plus every week.
Sanders and Sutton both started slow. Comeback mode managed to put their floor days together. Sutton gave you 3 of 6 for 78. Sanders 4 of 6 for 56. 6-yard carry, 62 total yards. So, any concerns about these two, or are you just rolling it up as a tough matchup?
Rolling it up as a touch matchup, but I want to double back because I was trying to respond to the Lindsey thing, and my microphone was off, which doesn't help. We ask every week, are you concerned about Lindsey's volume? Are you concerned about Freeman coming back? Early on, it was, are you concerned about Lindsey's volume? And the answers are resounding no, because he's kind of been in that, 12 to 17, 18 touch range, usually around 15. In, like Dan said, he's just efficient. And when he gets into the end zone, and you haven't really seen a game where that efficiency has not been there, I trust him at that point, even on that volume.
It was more of a
from last year.
Are you concerned at all? Because he was getting closer to 20 when Freeman was out.
No, because it's what he was getting early on in the year when he was still a weekly flex running back 2 discussion, and he still did amazing with it.
Yeah, I mean, the Broncos are more than comfortable in giving him. They found the niche. They found the Lamar Miller line for him, where he can flirt with efficiency and even with less volume than what you
just
want.
flirt with it.
Just flirts with that line.
It's Austin Eckler at the end of last year is what it is. He's just done it longer.
All right. Defense overperformed for you in this game. Actually, I forgot about Hireman. Hireman was the only other player to see more than 2 targets in this game besides Sutton and Sanders. Got you just 20 yards on 4 catches, though, so tight end floor day.
Yeah.
Defense overperformed, though. I did not like him in this matchup, but they gave you 3 sacks, 2 picks, held the Chargers to 22 points, so solid day for the Broncos defense. End of season schedule, they get the Steelers and Bengals the next 2 weeks, which I don't love, but they finish with the 49ers, the Browns, and the Raiders, so Broncos playoff defense may not be a bad option for you.
Wait till someone drops them after the Pittsburgh game.
Or before the Pittsburgh game.
Or before, and then go pick them up and stash them. There's your answer, Pavan, what defenses maybe get.
On to the Chargers side, where the Rivers had his first 400-yard day of the season, finished 401 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. The interceptions hurt, but the extra yardage made up for a solid finish for the veteran quarterback as compared to his usual 250-yard day. Rivers just continues to get it done week in and week out with 2 touchdowns like clockwork. Gordon was held out of the end zone, which I said he might be, but he still insulated his day with 87 receiving yards by catching all 6 of his targets. 18 yards carries for 69 yards on the ground, so it wasn't a super efficient ground day, but the passing yardage more than made up for it. Eckler was also more involved than he had been the previous weeks. 8 targets, 69 total yards in this one as well. For the receiving game, Keenan Allen is trending upward and real hard.
We're seeing last year again.
Yep, same as last year. It was all second half. 9 for 89 and 1 on 12 targets. 3 straight games with 9+ targets and 100+ yards or a touchdown in 3 straight games. Keep rolling him out there. He's awesome. Gates exploded though. Gave you a 580-1 performance on 7 targets, where he actually is going to be close to the tight end when he's got to be the 2, right?
He's up there, I'm sure.
Rest of the passing game was quiet, though. Mike Williams did his usual 3-target, 2-catch, 56-yard day, just didn't score. And Tyrell Williams had no boom play, so he was 2, 22, and 0 on 6. It's basically you got to hope for a touchdown for either one of those guys for them to do anything for you.
And depending on matchups coming up, did you put down Cardinals, Steelers, Bengals, Chiefs, Ravens? This is a team that prefers to be balanced, prefers to run, but you get to see the upside of what this offense could be, especially with Rivers and the passing, and where some of those bigger plays can come with guys like the Williams brothers.
Yep, as you mentioned, in the season schedule is Cardinals at Steelers, Bengals at Chiefs, Ravens at home to finish. Defense was disappointing in this one as well. No sacks or turnovers caused.
Yeah, I wish it had been a good matchup for them.
All right, on to Raiders at the Cardinals. Raiders win this one. I believe it was actually 22-21 because I think the Raiders won on the last-second field goal.
Yes.
Dan, takeaways from this game.
Before then, we get to that, we got a couple questions. Dylan jumps in. What's up, my man? Would you rather start Lamar Jackson or Winston this week? 6-point
Winston.
passing touchdown.
Especially with 6-point
Yes.
passing touchdowns, I want Winston.
Yeah, you want to get the quarterback that can equal rushing touchdown, which is passing.
And then Pavan asks Broncos greater than Titans, and I would say specifically for the last 3 games.
If you have the bench spots, why not pick up both? I mean, this is why we advocate for you guys to pick up multiple quarterbacks and defenses with extra and deeper bench spots, because it allows you to play those matchups and get you those favorable ones. If you can, you can pick up both and see what happens. Defenses, especially this year, tend to get dropped fairly quickly, as outside of the Bears and maybe the Vikings for a while have looked sharp consistently, or haven't looked that sharp consistently.
All right. On to Raiders versus the Cardinals then.
Sorry. We'll start with the Raiders here. If you started Derek Carr, first off, why did you start him? But if you did, he didn't kill you at 19 for 31, 92 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Still never playing him. Running game, Doug Martin looked good early on, but for some reason, I don't know if anything came out on this, but he didn't really see much work in the second half.
Ankle injury.
Okay. We assumed.
But apparently they also wanted to have Dwayne Washington get some work, so it was all sorts of fun.
Yeah, Rashard and Washington both saw over 10 carries in this game. Rashard, I believe, was efficient with his. I think he had over 50 yards. Washington was, just a horrid, 3 yards per carry or whatever. We'll see what more comes of this with the Martin injury. It does give a slight bump to Rashard, as he's generally been the more efficient runner and is used more in the passing game, but this is the Raiders offense, so not to love there. Shout out to Hopper and the Brandon LaFell rule going out. Was looking really good, 2 for 29 and a touchdown, and then he tore his Achilles, right? He tore his Achilles, right? And then he's done for the year and possibly his career.
So this brings a full circle conclusion to the LaFell rule.
I feel like there should be a 30 for 30 presented by us.
The Brandon LaFell rule.
The Brandon LaFell rule. Maybe the new Brandon LaFell, Seth Roberts, team high 7 targets. Marcel Aitman, rookie out of Oklahoma State, for those wondering. 5 targets, 4 for 50 on them. He's a big body guy. I believe he's 6'3" or 6'4", one of the few big body guys. Not very athletic though.
Yeah, possible pickup in deep dynasty leagues.
Not a name that no one really redraft. Maybe gets some dynasty call out potentially. We'll see. Cook got an early touchdown, but didn't do shit afterwards. Finished 3 for 31 and a touchdown on 6 targets. The defense was a potential boom-bust defense, given the Cardinals' offense. 2 sacks and two interceptions and a sack. Meh day for them. Moving on to the Cardinals, Rosen. We mentioned him as an okay 2 QB start. The efficiency was horrible. 9 for 20 and 136, but he threw 3 touchdowns, couple picks. The defense played a lot better. Just like with Carr, though, you're not rostering or playing Rosen in 1 QB leagues. David Johnson didn't find the end zone, but he did have 154 total yards on 26 touches. 25 of those were carries. He did finish the game with 3 targets, but his target volume tends to go up and down in this offense, at least of late. Just with the limited upside compared to the other top running backs this season. He's not a top 5 running back, but he is a very good RB1 still. With Rosen's struggles with completions, there wasn't a whole lot of volume for these receivers, but they did a lot with them. Christian Kirk had a great 57-yard catch and run for a touchdown. Finished his day 3 for 77 on 4 targets. Fitz, both of his receptions went for touchdowns, total of 29 yards with those on 4 targets. Fish is still fantastic in this offense. It's starting to look better. Wide receiver 2-3 upside with him. And then Kurt, just given where he is with this offense and its upside, it's a borderline flex play and plus matchups. Gets Chargers, Packers, and Lions up next. Chargers and Packers are on the road. Lions are at home, so meh for all of them, but there's potential chances there. Then RSJ was a complete miss here. Wow, 1 catch on 3 targets for 5 yards.
That did not work out.
And the defense also let you down. 4 sacks, no turnovers, and 23 points allowed.
All right. And on the good Dan news, Robert Wood just scored a touchdown.
Fuck yeah. Let's fucking go.
Wait, did I hear Brandon LaFell was a complete dud?
No.
Oh.
RSJ.
RSJ was.
Yes.
Sorry. No, we know what LaFell was.
The touchdown on a torn Achilles.
Yes. As we said, that he should we should make a 30 for 30 on the Brendan LaFell rule.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, let's wrap up Sunday night's recaps with Vikings going into Chicago to play the Bears. Bears win this one 25-20. Vikings got shut out in the first half, could not make the comeback in the second. Starting off with the Vikings, where Cousins was off in this one, especially early, managed to salve his performance for fantasy purposes in catch-up mode, 262, 2-2. On 46 attempts. There are better matchups upcoming, but he was real off in this one early. He missed Diggs on a wide open touchdown and a couple just air balls into space that got picked. It was not pretty.
I don't think the play calling was particularly great until the second half. I don't understand how you are up against the best pass rush in football, right up there with the Vikings, and then just be like, yeah, you know what, we're just going to try to run it a few times and then just let Cousins get killed.
Yeah, it was weird. Cook and Murray did nothing. Cook had 12 touches for 10 yards and a fumble, so that's, I believe, a negative performance out of him.
Half a point and half point PPR.
All right. And Murray gave you 4 carries for 5 yards. Better games coming for these two, but this was an ugly one. Thankfully, they did not catch the Bears again during the fantasy season, so you don't have to worry about that.
As long as you're playing fantasy right, they don't anyway.
If you play in 17, then sorry, you're not going to like our show.
Yeah,
I mean, you'll love us, but you won't love us then.
we go real quiet after week 16.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
30 of Cousins' 46 attempts were either to Diggs or Thielen, 18 to Diggs, 12 to Thielen, respectively. Diggs exploded in the second half. He got fed on the last few drives, especially that last one. Gave you a 126 and 1 stat line. Thielen was a bit quieter, 766 and 0 on his 12 targets. There's only one other player who saw more than 3, though. That was Rudolph, who turned 5 targets into 13 yards on 2 catches.
So this whole, Kirk Cousins likes to use tight ends thing has really worked out for people this season.
Apparently, Jay Gruden's offense likes to use tight ends. Kirk Cousins doesn't give a shit.
He goes to the guy that's going to catch the football consistently.
Defense was solid. Gave you a sack, 3 turnovers, bolstered their day to be at least respectable. End of season schedule, they go Packers at home, Patriots on the road, Seahawks on the road, Dolphins, and then at the Lions in week 16. On the Bears side, Trubisky does decently well, though this was his worst performance in a while. 165 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 2 picks, 43 rushing yards to help wash the picks away at least on 10 attempts. There's only one other game in his last 7 is against Buffalo where he didn't have to throw a whole lot and kind of ruined his fantasy day overall, but 5 out of his last 7 have been excellent, so I expect he should be fine going forward.
He'll be fine.
Howard was fed 19 touches, only 65 total yards, so not the day owners were hoping for, but kind of the one they were probably expecting, and we kind of were projecting for him.
Actually got more touches than he has in a while.
I didn't expect the game script to go this way. I mean,
they were up early.
I kind of did. There was a part of it because it's just how bad Minnesota plays and it's Soldier Field, but yeah, I mean, it's a good run defense for Minnesota.
Yeah. Still outperformed Cohen, though. Took 10 touches for 50 yards and a fumble.
A better Delvin Cook day.
Better than Delvin Cook, yes. For the Bears backs, that was pretty ugly, not real efficient, not a lot of big plays. Receiving game wasn't much better. Gabriel led the team in targets, yards, and receptions, caught 7 and 9 for 52 yards. Allen Robinson gave you 3 for 39 and 0 on 7, and Miller was able to bail his day out on an underthrown ball with a touchdown. Finished 25 and 1 on 3 targets for my sit of the week. So even with the touchdown, not a great day.
He should have had more targets.
Burton had 1 target, did have a 40-yard play called back on a penalty, but his production has dropped like a rock ever since Miller's kind of started blowing up here.
Yeah, I mean, Hopper's been hitting that point home all season with not getting so high in love on Burton.
Yeah, it's really been trending downward the last couple weeks, though. This was a plus matchup for him.
Again, it's more big play, and with Shaheen back, I know he's in concussion protocol, but with Shaheen back, that's going to ruin his upside.
Shaheen got the 2-point conversion. Brunecker had, I think, at least 2 targets, which is really in tight ends. 2 targets will, be the difference between a tight end 1 performance and a back end 2.
Yep. Defense did their job. 2 sacks, 3 turnovers, and a defensive touchdown. To finish up the season, they get to kick the shit out of Stafford again against the Lions. They get the Giants' terrible offensive line. Rams and Packers are some tough ones, but they do finish against the 49ers in Week 16.
You can sit them maybe in the Rams, but you can even play them against the Packers. The Packers they're out of the playoff race by then. They may not give a shit.
Yeah, I doubt they're fully out by 15.
Yeah, they do have the easiest rest of the season schedule per strength of the season left.
Yeah, and once they get through the Vikings, it's real easy outside of the Bears game.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk some injuries. Alex Smith, as we mentioned before, multiple leg fractures, had surgery already. He is confirmed done for the year. Marcus Mariota hit the elbow. Again, it's reported as a stinger, not as serious. He is listed as day-to-day. The biggest one I want to talk about, though, is Kerryon Johnson, knee sprain week to week. How concerned are we about this?
And Kerryon Johnson, if you had him, first off, he was probably your third running back, but it's concerning to see a guy labeled week to week. He was ruled out almost immediately for Thursday. Yes, it's a short week, but for a guy that you're probably running out every week as a running back too that's been consistent, I mean, you got to worry that, he could miss 2 to 3 weeks on this.
Yep. Are you grabbing anybody in case he misses more time? Because it's not a great matchup against the Bears, but they may have better options going forward.
Yeah, and I think it's got to be Theo Riddick. I don't think that you're going to try the LeGarrette Blount thing. He's not been efficient, done nothing to show you that, hey, maybe he should be out there. They don't have Abdullah anymore, so.
All right. And
Gotta
then
be Riddick.
I agree with Riddick. Dan?
Well, I guess let's see how they use their backs with Johnson out on Thursday. He could be back next week. Let's just be happy he avoided structural damage, which was a concern a bit. Depends what's out there. Theo is still very game script, but he did get some work after Johnson got hurt, but that was also in catch-up mode. Because I think they were down for most of that game.
No?
No? I don't know. I was hungover, so.
All right, we'll just ignore what you're saying then.
Yeah.
They were ahead for a lot of it, but it didn't feel like it.
Yeah. All right, on to the wide receiver position. Brandon LaFell, Achilles, done for the year.
He deserves it.
Man,
He
what
does.
do you do with Oakland? Marcel Aitman?
Seth Roberts are your 1 and 2.
Marcel Aitman had 5 targets, I guess.
And they pulled somebody off the practice
I
squad
think
today.
Jared Cook's gonna get the Brandon LaFell role.
Except he's been pretty meh for the most part. He
At
did
least
get
he got a
on this one.
touchdown in weeks I had to play him in.
All right, and then we don't know how severe it is yet, but tight end O.J. Howard with the ankle, so something to keep a monitor over the next couple days.
Cameron Brate.
All right.
Grab Cameron Brate.
We'll talk about that in a moment. For the waiver ads, Lamar Jackson, Jameis Winston at quarterback. Is there any other names I'm missing there? And any preference in order? I assume Winston would be preferred.
Yeah, Winston's definitely preferred.
Right at running back, big names for me. Definitely is Josh Adams is the number one in flashing and lights for me, especially with some of their games coming up.
Yeah, if he's still out there, hopefully this is where you use your number 1 waiver priority. But then the next shout out is to Gus Edwards because I think this is his job.
Yep, that is the number 2. Shout out is definitely Gus Edwards. Theo Riddick, Jalen Richard, and Elijah McGuire are all some decent PPR options.
I agree.
Wide receiver, if Twaquan Smith, DJ Moore, and Christian Kirk are available, all 3 should be grabbed in that order.
I would maybe put Moore ahead of Smith. But I love them both. I think Moore may take that 1 spot over Funches after this week.
I could see that.
Or at least, in terms of preference, it can be 1A, 1B.
Yeah, I think I'm more Smith, Kirk, QT as far as the rookie wide receiver claims go.
Over Moore?
No, he said Moore
I
Smith.
said Moore was first.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, he said Moore Smith.
Oh,
Kirk Cutie.
I heard Moore as in my opinion would lean towards, not Moore as in his last name.
No,
It's not all about you, Nick.
Moore is in the player. Moore, Smith, Kirk, QT.
Okay. And then Kuti was a great PPR option here. And then if you're looking for the light version of Kuti, Bruce Ellington.
Just got to stay healthy. he
That
he
never
gave you an
happens.
injury concern.
He gave me
Early
an injury
game.
squid
He
scare.
All right. For tight ends, the big names, Jonnu Smith and Jeff Hireman. And then if we get any more news by tomorrow, Cameron Brate, if that it's more serious for Howard, Cameron Brate would jump up to number 1.
And then I
Even
guess
if I don't get news tomorrow, I'm still going to grab Cameron Brate just in case.
And you also
Most
have
of
an
the-
obsessive man crush on
if
Cameron
you have
Brate.
Howard and you don't have another tight end, pick up Brate.
I would
Well,
agree with that.
I do have an obsessive man crush on Cameron Brate for starters, but also most of my leagues are deep enough to where I can afford to just stash them just in case.
Yeah.
Where I need tight ends.
All right. For defenses, I like the Cowboys going up against the Colt McCoy-led Redskins on Thanksgiving. Patriots traveling to New York to play the Jets, and Colts at home against the Dolphins are all solid options for you. And I don't care who's at quarterback for the Dolphins. And at kicker, Matt Bryant, if he is available, kicks at domes in 4 of his last 5 fantasy games.
So there's a question for Pavan. He'd asked who's a good streaming kicker for Week 12.
Matt Bryant's available. Pick up Matt Bryant.
Yeah, I basically said find the kicker kicking in a dome with an over/under of 50 plus, which is pretty much what you're targeting for kickers in general.
I can guarantee Matt Bryant is kicking in a dome this week and kicking in is going to be over under 50 plus. All right, couple names that we are going to go ahead and say goodbye to.
Weekly cuts.
I haven't been around for this. Maybe once.
All right. Ryan Fitzpatrick, since he got benched again, can be swapped out for Jameis Winston safely, and Alex Smith with the leg injury is done for the year. Couple running backs that are safe cuts right now. Mike Davis, it looks like Penny has supplanted him as the number 2 running back on that team. Corey Clement and Wendell Smallwood can both be cut in shallower leagues because it looks like it's Josh Adams'
I
job.
think it can be cut in all leagues.
And super deep ones, maybe not, but it's getting close. Wide receiver, Maurice Harris and Josh Doxson. If you're holding them, I don't want to start him with McCoy.
Yeah.
And then I don't have any tight end cuts, but at defense, Cardinals defense can be cut. This was their good matchup, and you can cut them from here on out. Right? Anything to add, Hopper?
No, I just said yep.
Rest of week preview. In about 10 minutes here, we're going to immediately record our Thursday preview and start sit segment for you guys in a separate mini episode, hopefully about 30 minutes long. Friday, we'll be back as normal. All 3 of us will be different places, but we'll make it work for our weekly preview.
I'm not going to be here Friday.
All right. Hopper and I will be recording. Hopper will be in his normal place. I will be up in Minnesota recording that episode. And Sunday,
No guarantees I'll be in my normal place, but I'll be there somewhere.
you'll be somewhere.
He'll be present.
He'll be here.
At least.
Sunday, live Q&A for you guys. I know I'll be there. I'm going to be up super bright and early that morning. I'm grabbing breakfast with a friend at like 7 a.m. and then coming and doing this stuff with you. So I'm going to be like 5 cups of coffee in.
I will be back Sunday for sure.
Good.
All right. So we'll see you all guys in about 10 minutes here if you're listening to the live segment. Otherwise, if you're listening to this episode and you're like, hey, why is there 2 episodes that dropped on Monday? That's your explanation.
It's holiday week. We have family to visit and jobs to work.
Traveling to happen, jobs to work for the one of us that's still in retail that doesn't get time off for this. So,
all right. So this is a quick reminder. You can follow the show at BeerfieldFF on Twitter, Instagram, Untapped, Beerfield Fantasy Football if you want to be able to ask questions like we've been answering for people in the chat through the entire episode. Individually, I'm at Nick Sparts. You got Dan Theory to my right.
And Theory BFF.
And down in St. Louis is Christopher Hopper.
at Hot BFF with 2Ps. See y'all in 10 minutes.
Yep, if you are on the live show, see you in about 10 minutes, and I will get this episode posted immediately. So if you're listening to it right as we drop it, go ahead and get ready for another one in just a little bit. Later.
Peace.
See ya.